Have you ever been there, standing in a room, locked in a design debate, just completely stuck on what to do next? Well, today we're diving into a book that's basically an answer key for those exact moments. It's called Let's Ask Michael, and it's all about practical, real-world solutions for those design dilemmas that can be so frustrating. Let's see what he's got for us. So, where does that title even come from? Well, it's actually from a true story. The designer, Michael Payne, got an email from a couple who were in the middle of this huge, heated argument about their house. And finally, in total exasperation, the husband just threw up his hands and said, "Let's ask Michael." And really, that's what this book is all about, being that go-to expert who can settle the debates and get you moving forward. Okay, so our first big dilemma is something I think pretty much everyone has dealt with. What do you do with the weird, awkward parts of a room? You know, the stuff that's just there, the things you can't move but you have to figure out how to work around. Let's start with a total classic, the massive floor-to-ceiling brick fireplace. It's a feature that can just completely take over a room. I mean, sometimes it feels like the whole wall is just attacking you with brick. So how in the world do you tone that down without having to, demolish the whole thing? This is a real question from the book, and you can just feel the pain in it, can't you? This person just perfectly sums up that feeling of being completely overpowered by one single design element. So what's Michael's solution? The game plan here is just brilliant. First, you frame the firebox itself with a nice classic wood mantle. Right away, that breaks up that giant wall of brick. Then, you cover the rest of the brick above it with stucco and paint it to match the walls. And the finishing touch? Add custom cabinetry on both sides. All of a sudden, that eyesore is now a beautiful, functional centerpiece of the room. Problem solved. All right, let's hit another awkward space, the dreaded long, narrow room. You know the one. It feels less like a place to live and more like a hallway or a bowling alley. The challenge is, how do you make a cozy seating area without just lining everything up against the wall and making it feel like a roadblock? The key here isn't to fight the layout, but to lean into it. You start by anchoring the main seating zone with a great area rug. That defines the space. Then, maybe instead of a boring old coffee table, you use something with personality, like a cool trunk or an ottoman. And finally, you soften the whole thing with some nice side tables and a couple of comfy lounge chairs. It just goes to show, even when your furniture placement is limited, the room absolutely does not have to be boring. All right, on to our next big challenge. This one is all about getting over the fear of making a bold choice. It's about breaking free from that sea of beige and actually giving your home a personality that feels like you. And here we go again with another play that is just so relatable. These folks did the safe thing, right? They went all neutral, and now they're just stuck, totally paralyzed by the fear of picking the wrong color. So where do you even start to fix this? The advice is to start small, but make it count. You don't have to paint the entire room some shocking color. Just pick one wall to be your accent wall. The fireplace wall is usually a perfect candidate. Paint that a bold color you love, but keep the trim a nice crisp white to make it pop. Then you can layer in even more color with things like a rug, throw pillows, and accessories. It's a totally low-risk, high-reward way to bring a room to life. Okay, let's get a little more advanced now. Mixing patterns, specifically florals. We have all seen this go so wrong, where the clashing patterns just create this chaotic mess. So is there a secret to doing it right? I absolutely love this analogy from the book. He says to think of your different fabrics like they're instruments in an orchestra. Each one has its own unique voice, its own pattern, its own colors, but the goal is for them all to play together in harmony. If your floral curtains and your floral rug are playing two completely different songs, it's just going to sound like noise. The trick is finding patterns that harmonize. And a great professional tool for creating that harmony is something called a design motif. It sounds fancy, but it's really simple. It's just a shape or an element that you repeat throughout the room to tie everything together. For example, the book mentions using a pyramid shape on the ceiling, on the cabinet doors, and even etched into glass. It creates this subtle, cohesive theme that just makes the whole room feel polished and intentional. So our final dilemma is a big one. It's that constant battle between function and form. How do you make a space look amazing while also making it, actually work for your life? How do you get the storage you need without totally sacrificing style? Man, this question is for anybody who has ever lived in a small space. You are desperate for more storage, but the absolute last thing you want is just to cram more bulky furniture into a room that already feels tight.
The philosophy behind the solution here is so smart. The author says he gets inspiration from boat design. Think about it. On a boat, there is zero wasted space. Every single inch has a job to do. And that is exactly the mindset you should bring to a small room.
And the ultimate boat solution is a full wall of custom built-ins. This look is just so sleek. The TV can literally disappear behind pocket doors, you get tons of hidden storage and cabinets above and below, and that open counter space in the middle breaks everything up, especially if you add some under-cabinet lighting. It totally solves the storage crisis without making the room feel heavy or crowded at all.
And now for what might be the ultimate functional challenge, making one room do two completely different jobs. How can a room be a full-time home office and a part-time guest room without feeling like a compromise on either one?
The answer is one of the most clever pieces of furniture ever invented, the Murphy bed. When it's up, it's totally hidden inside what looks like a nice wall of cabinetry, and the room is a fully functioning office. But when guests come over, you pull it down and bam, it's a comfy bedroom, often with cool little nightstands built right in. It's the perfect two-for-one solution.
So, after going through all of these very specific problems and solutions, what's the big idea? What's the takeaway that ties all of this together? Well, it all comes down to a really simple philosophy about who this is all for.
In fact, the author boils his entire design philosophy down to just three simple fundamental rules.
And here they are. Number 1, never forget whose home it is. Number 2, never forget whose money is being spent. And number 3, never forget who will be living there long after the designer is gone. At the end of the day, it's not about trends or what a designer thinks is cool. Every single decision should be about what works for you and what reflects your personality.
And that brings us to our final thought. After hearing all of this, what's the one design rule that you've been following that's maybe holding you back? Maybe it's time to break it. Maybe it's time to take a risk and finally make that choice that turns your house into a place that truly feels like your home.